guys, it's Kay. I promised you guys a video on mobility for ankles and hips that have helped my bottom position in my snatch and clean and jerk. It has helped me a ton get my snatch up to a whole new level, and I hope this helps you guys because ankles and hips can be a really big problem when you're trying to push those numbers because it can really limit you in terms of your bottom position. So a big reason snatch mobility is a big thing in Olympic weightlifting is because the lower you can get the hips to the ground, the more time you have to get under the bar. And then for the hips, I think it's really important because of your knee health. If you don't have good hip mobility and you can't get your knees over your toes, it can really cause some really big issues when your knees cave in. So that's also important, and that's why I'm going to touch on both of them. Unfortunately, I don't do a lot of shoulder stretching because I have a lot of shoulder mobility from gymnastics. So I basically just warm up. I might include a little bit of that. But yeah, so mostly ankles and hips for today. So I'm not going to regard myself as some like yogi or a personal trainer or a physical therapist or anything like that. These are just the things that have worked for me, and just to kind of prove my point that this does actually work, here are some videos of my progressions over the last couple of years that show my bottom position improving and improving and improving with every meet or training PR that I've gotten, just to show you that this does work and it does help as the weight gets higher on the
Beautiful. Come on, up.
Hold. Hold!
Yes! Okay, so the first stretch I'm going to do is very sport specific, and a lot of people like to do it. It is basically just holding your squat stance at the bottom with the barbell over your knees. So the goal is you want to go and mimic as close as you can to your real squat, and then just place the bar right over your knees. And you shouldn't even need to touch it. I would, just as a beginner. But it should be able to balance, and you should feel your stretch right in your ankles here and maybe in your groin area if you're tight there. And if this gets too easy, which has kind of gotten too easy for me, I don't feel a lot of tension in my ankles like I should anymore, you can add kilo plates just to make it more and more difficult on your ankles to stretch. I wouldn't try to push that weight. It's not a maximum effort kind of thing. Just use enough weight to feel a stretch. Okay guys, so another thing with this stretch is once you get comfortable in this position, it's a really good idea, especially for injury prevention and if your lift is a little off, to kind of play with it, and you can move from side to side and push a little bit more on each ankle to feel that stretch even a little bit more, going back and forth, side to side, that kind of thing. And it's really good, you know, in case you get in a weird position in your snatch or clean and jerk, then your body knows how to react to that, and your ankles are mobile enough to deal with that situation. Another really great sport-specific stretch I like to do is just, I don't know what it's called, but just getting into your normal squat position. And like I said, my knees tend to cave in because of my pigeon-toedness. So just put your elbows in and put your hands together like you're praying, basically. And it really helps you make your knees go out, and you should really feel it in your groin area. So you just want to push your knees out and make sure they're going over your toes, because that's what you want in the bottom of your squat position. Okay, so this is a basic butterfly stretch. I have very, very tight hips naturally. I'm pigeon-toed and my hips are internally rotated, so it's always been hard for me to get my knees out. So this is basic, you guys should all know this, but a way to kind of do not so much of the flutter butterfly is to use your elbows and really push down those knees and feel that. And you should be holding these static positions for at least 30 seconds at a time and making sure you're feeling tension the whole time, or else your muscles are never going to get stretched out and improve on what you had before. Okay, so here I had my fiance add some kilo plates onto both of my knees. This is a great way if you don't want to push down and you have a partner. This allows it so you kind of have that constant tension. I just like to guide them so they don't fall over on my ankles or anything like that. But this is a great way to kind of stay upright and make sure your hips are stretching and you're not all slouching over like that with your elbow. So this is a really good option too.
11. Shit.
So
Okay.
realistically, your butterfly stretch is great for opening up your hips, but it realistically isn't going to target all the muscles in your booty and hips that you want to open up and improve your squat technique. So here's another one that's very common among weightlifters. So what you want to do is put your leg up on a box or whatever you have that's about hip height, maybe a little lower, and you want to make a 90-degree angle between your femur and your shin. And you want to bend over and want to make sure that you're pushing your knee down as close to the box as you can. Like I said, I'm very awful at this. Most people can probably get their knee down, but I can't. A lot of people like to go down in your elbows, and that really hurts for me, and that makes it more challenging. And you feel it right in your booty, like right about here, and it really helps opening up your hips. Another stretch I have, I actually learned from yoga and a little bit of gymnastics, I think. So what you want to do is you want to go on the floor and you can warm up by doing like a hip flexor stretch, which is really nice to do too for your hips, just to open them up. But what you want to do from here, basically, you just want to bring your foot under like that, 90-degree angle. And like I said, I'm very bad with my hips. So your knee should be down all the way, but you just really want to push that knee down. And if you're really good at it, you can go on your elbows, and I can't even do that. So that's a great stretch. Same muscles as the box did. So same thing, just opening up your hips, just a different way of doing it, different stretch. I think this is more challenging than the box because it has more of a split to it, obviously. So you're definitely opening up more muscles, and it's a little more challenging in there. Okay, since we have the box out and everything, I like to put these exercises together because they both require an elevated surface. So here's another one that I really like to do, and we're kind of moving on to ankle mobility right now. This is great. You just put your foot up and you basically just lean over and make sure your knee is going over your toe. And you just want to push over and push over until you feel that stretch. This has been awesome for me, gaining mobility in my ankles, because my ankles I always wanted to push my booty back, and you can still see that a lot in my snatches, that I tend to do that because my ankle mobility isn't that great. But doing this, it really just focuses on making this ankle more mobile right here. So doing this and holding it for 30 seconds for like 5 sets, if you really want to get better at it, it can really improve your ankle mobility in your squat position, and it really transfers over well. Building on the ankle stretch from the box, if that is a little too easy, and it can be if you're pretty good at mobility ankle-wise. So right I have here is just a kettlebell, normal kettlebell. Most weights would probably work. I don't think you need a lot of weight for this to make you feel a stretch. So you just want to put it on your knee and make sure you're guiding it, because it is a round object, so it can fall. I'm a little off balance right now. And your basic hip flexor stretch, just lean forward and let the kettlebell kind of guide your knee closer to the ground. And this is very advanced, so I wouldn't do this unless your ankles are pretty healthy as it is. I only started using weights on my knees when I really needed that extra push to get my squat position down a little lower. So there's that. Another stretch for your ankle that is very beneficial is, this one's a little different. It more stretches your calf and a little bit your ankle, so the same. So instead of having a bent knee and pushing down like I did in the box, what we're going to do is, with a straight leg, you're going to put your foot on a rack or whatever surface you have, and then just flex it as much as you can, and you just got to push as close as you can to the rack, just like that. And then you should feel a stretch in your calf and a little bit your ankle. So, in my opinion, with my hips, and I'm trying to stretch them so much, it gets to a point where it kind of hurts in the back of my hips and the lower back. Sorry, that's my little buddy there. But I tend to have pain in my lower back, and it really helps if I kind of stretch them the other way, just to make sure. You want to be mobile in every way. That's what I kind of learned from gymnastics. I am very flexible in some areas, but things like this I'm really bad at. So I really like to keep a wide range of mobility. It's healthy for not only weightlifting, but for everyday things. So I like to lay on my back, just like this. And you bring your leg up 90 degrees and just twist it this way. And this is a really good thing to do with a partner too. And you can bend it and bring it over And you can also bring it back for the same kind of squat stretch and just bring the knee to the ground that way. Good. So keeping with the whole like back of the hip pain that I have sometimes, sometimes basic stretches such as just leaning over, touching your toes as best you can. You can just reach for your toes if you're not mobile enough. But I like to look and reach as far as I can on the floor. Another one, sorry for the angle, but opening up your legs and going to one side, and that can really target the one side of your hip that's hurting if that's hurting you. Other side, and right through the middle for both. So I hope this really helped, guys. Like I said, I am not a professional by any means, but this is what's helped for me, so I hope it helps you. Don't forget to follow my Instagram at Kate Vivert. Subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment if you have any suggestions for future videos. Make sure to follow my coach, Team Herc WL, on Instagram, as well as my sponsors at United Lifters and Hardcore Meals. Thank you guys so much for watching, and stay tuned for more.